What is going on, Feeds? My name is Feeds. Welcome in to Feeds Mindset, episode number 11. I appreciate you guys coming on, and we're here with Tay. Yeah, we're here with Tay. Yeah, how's it going, Tay? Yeah,
Trust Wallace Bong.
okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
What's up?
Welcome on to the podcast. I appreciate you being here. How's everything going?
Thank you so much for having me, family. I appreciate it.
No, you're fine, man. I really appreciate you being on here, man. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast again to episode number 11. It's crazy how big this podcast has blown up, but I'm more baffled by I'm more baffled by the creators that want to be a part of it, not the fact of how rapid it's moving. So yeah, I genuinely appreciate your time. So hey, for everybody that doesn't really know you, how would you describe yourself to somebody that's kind of new to you, tapping into your content and stuff, and maybe not even be aware of your TayAlerts and all that kind of stuff? How would you?
I am a variety degenerate piece of shit. I just want to get that out of the way first. For Saint Sanctum, the ever blessed saint for picking me up a couple of months ago, really allowing me to come into my own and just expand my content and just really get more comfortable with areas of content that I really haven't traversed into yet. But like you said, I've been doing these informative, like documentary style videos on Twitter for about the better part of a year and a half now, called TayAlerts. So this is like tournament cheaters, anybody that could possibly like run into issues with the law in our community, stuff like that. Not so much like high school drama, but important stuff that needs to be known for public purposes. I guess I'm your man for that. That kind of comes from a broadcast journalism background. You guys probably know that just like broadcast journalism as a whole has been on a decline really the last 3 years, mainly because of COVID, mainly because of racial protests across the country, just different affirming factors. And I decided that the associate's degree that I was pursuing was just not going to be applicable to anything that I really wanted to do with myself. So I walked away from the UC that I was at 6 months before I was set to receive my degree, started doing content right around the start of COVID. And the rest is just history.
Yeah, I mean,
I think this weed's starting to fucking hit me a little bit because my words are hazy right now, so just bear with me.
You're fine. Yeah. I think with I have a lot of friends and people that I've been able to build connections with and stuff, but I feel like you specifically, I've gotten to watch you transfold in such a different way than I'm used to being. I mean, I was one of those people that, tapped into you with the TayAlerts. That's how we first kind of got our start back when Eminence was a thing and all of that stuff. But just to watch that all go down and the tournaments keep transfolding and all of the legal issues and stuff that were brought to Twitter and seeing all of that, I mean, it's absolutely crazy and it's kind of inspiring because, I mean, as a creator, not only are you struggled with the, creating content and streaming and keeping people entertained, but you're also kind of living a double life in that way, being able to reach that type of content out for people. So how has it been for you to not only be a creator, but also pursue, the whole TayAlerts and kind of getting your name out there and spreading light on the community, because there really wasn't somebody for that. And you kind of ended up being that guy.
That's a really good question, because I think Frosty had a very good point when you had him on a couple of days ago, is that you really have to find your niche and really just what sets you out there and actually gives you watchability versus other content creators or streamers in your space. And I looked at my broadcast journalism background as kind of like an exploitation or a cheat code, I guess, to use something that I'm familiar with to incorporate it into my content and give it that discoverability or give it that tangibility for that viewer to stay grasped to the story. Sorry, I can't English.
No, you're good.
Grasped to the story and intrigued with what's going on, even if it's something that may be beneficial to them personally. And then just finding the motivation to just stay updated on what's going on. It helps a lot, even after a while when, it started reaching enough people that when something happens, they reach out and they go, "Oh, hey, Tay, you might want to look at this. Hey, Tay, you might want to look at this." A good half of those TayAlerts have come from people reaching out to me and being like, "Hey, you might want to take a look at this." And me going, "Hey, you know what? This is something feasible. This is something that publicly probably should be discussed." And the community is a really good outlet to kind of give me feedback on, because they're always telling me, "Hey, like this is what's working, this what isn't working." But they're also giving me a lot of my content ideas at the same time. So it's a love-hate relationship, but really 99% love, if anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. I definitely agree. And I think that it is, like I said, it is definitely inspiring because, I mean, you went from doing these tailors and all that. And I think that's kind of a big point that a lot of people miss is that a lot of your content isn't even like, not like saying like it's not your content, but there's a lot more people invested into it than just you posting that video and just you posting a tailor and watching all of that go down. And it actually has a lot more like behind the scenes in it than, normal people have. Like, I mean, even like this podcast, it's just us talking, me giving you insight. This is what's going to happen, and it happens. And specifically with your TayAlerts and other content that you've put out, it's so much more intricate than just a simple like, hey, he said this, she said that, and he's right. It's not like that, and you had to do a lot more.
But like that sparks from wanting to broaden your horizons, right? And actually look at like, hey, like this is what I'm capable of, but I'm only touching the surface of what I'm actually able to do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So getting into that, I guess, so Eminence obviously is for me, personally, like as far as his friends, that's, what transpired at all. But when was like the first time when you was like, okay, like maybe this needs conversation? Like was TayAlerts a thing before TayAlerts happened?
It was just me uploading one day when I saw something go down on the timeline, it get positive reception unlike anything that I've really uploaded before that. And then once I started getting the ball rolling about 3-4 in, I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I found my niche. I think this is something that I could really do for myself. That Obey Supremacy's TayAlert specifically, I actually had to buy a new phone because the notifications were going off so bad.
Really?
150,000 views in like the first 7 hours. I think it was up
crazy.
Or something like that. Completely fried the motherboard on my phone. That actually showed me like, hey, like this is something that you need to start doing.
Yeah.
And like if you really come into the fold with this, like this is actually the dream that you've been chasing.
So I do want to talk about, your past and where you came from and all that, but specifically on this topic, before we get to that, when you had finally noticed like this is your niche or whatever, like where was you at in life as far as content creation? Like, was you at that point like, I don't know what I'm going to do, what am I going to post, where am I going to go? Like, was that your mindset? And then you got into that and it was kind of like a light at the end of the tunnel?
I always knew since I was like a little kid that I wanted to do something in entertainment. Like no matter what it was, whether that was like music, live performing, content creation, something to this extent. Like I always knew, even since I was a little kid, just something to that extent. And I mean, I involved myself, I was in school theater. I ended up being on the improv team in senior year of high school and going into college. So it gave me a lot of like the personability to actually like put myself in front of a crowd and like in front of people that I don't know and like be able to provide entertainment. To the extent of when I started streaming in 2020, it just felt natural at that point because it's a situation that I'd already felt like I'd been in a million times. Your only audience per se is the people watching you, but it's the camera. Like at least physically looking back at you. You don't have to worry about people like physically sitting in front of you and giving you their attention. There's no like anxiety in the room that's going to be just peeking off the ceiling, just having you worried about stuff that you don't need to be worried about.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool because, I mean, that's kind of the struggle that everybody has. They're like, oh, like I'm nervous about posting this. I don't know what people is going to think or whatever. And I mean, you take all of that and you chuck it out the window because, you just kind of get in this whole real world where you delete all the hypotheticals in your brain and you're like, all of that doesn't matter because nobody, nobody's here, so it's kind of a really good, point to be able to have because, there's like millions of creators or, at least hundreds of thousands. I don't know. But, there's just tons of millions. Tons of creators, that all have that same issue, whether it's starting out. I mean, even creators that have made it, like even ones that are at the top still struggle with that. Like, oh, like, I don't know, it's going to get backlash or whatever. And it's like, backlash from who? Like, there's nobody here, So I think that's definitely a very intricate mindset that you have. And it's very interesting. And do you think that that specific mindset has allowed you to bust those walls down and get out of your comfort zone more?
Well, who else could be you but you? I mean, when you be the most authentic version of yourself, at least 99% of the time, you're going to get that authentic energy right back to you. And that's a beautiful way that it works sometimes, in life and in content.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. I think that is very awesome, and that's definitely one of the coolest things that I think about you and your personality is the way that you can just keep it so real. And I think not even that, but your friends keep it real back to you. Like, you gain so much respect because of how you are. It makes people want to be real to you because they already kind of understand the response they're going to get if they be fake or not give you the full story of what you're wanting, because then you don't know how to give them feedback,
It's like, the thing is too, my friend circles are constantly changing, IRL, internet, all
Mm-hmm.
aspects of life, because I expect so much out of my friends. I'm just the type of person that, like, I know what I want for myself, and I know what's healthy for myself, and I know what's healthy for the people in my life around me. And it's almost like a collective ecosystem, because I always want to make sure that I'm just not the only person in my hemisphere that's doing good. Like, if there's something that we could do to uplift somebody around us, or somebody that's in my close proximity, to, empower them to have a better day, then so be it, even if it takes something out of me. Like, it's not even really how I was raised. It's just kind of like a walk of life and a reawakening that I had when I entered community college, just the people that I was surrounded by. And I just kind of had a chance to just sit back and reevaluate everything that was going on. And, it's a lot more cliche than people like to make it seem.
Mm-hmm.
You put out love into the world, you're going to get it back. And the world definitely needs a lot more of it. And it's sad that we don't see it a lot in content, whether it's, sexism, racism, transphobia, just any sort of non-inclusion for any type of streamer. It's just, there's more that we need to do, but the fact that we have people that recognize that love is the first step is a really beautiful thing. I love
100%.
that.
No, I mean, I would fully agree. I mean, I think anybody that disagrees with anything in that statement just needs to take a look back and think, why are they here in the first place, and what kind of creator they're being. Because, I mean, if you can't have that mindset, what's the whole point of growing? Because when you get to the top, you're going to have nobody with you. Then, what's the fun? So it's, I'm very glad and I'm very happy about all that. And I agree. And that's kind of, hypothetically, with this podcast, that's my long-term goal, is to just provide insight and give back to creators and just let them be heard. So Tay, let's be heard. Where are you from, man? Like, where did everything come from? How did Tay come to be? How did you get into gaming, get into content and stuff? I think like I said, your background is a lot more intricate, with all of your life goals that you've had and accumulated in your college and your degrees and being on the radio and stuff. I mean, you've had a lot more than what a normal creator does. Like, most kind of get on as an escape. Not saying you didn't, but most usually just find like it as an escape, and then they kind of transform that way. So how did we'll get into like who how you acquired TayWoodz, but just to be here in the first place, how did you get here?
Born and raised Sacramento. Well, not born Sacramento, actually. I gotta take that back. Sorry. Raised in Sacramento my whole life. Lived here 24 beautiful years now. I was born, shout out Palmdale. I was born in Palmdale, where Afro Man, the famous Colt 45 and 2 zigzag song, actually was my neighbor that lived on my block. No joke.
Really?
The line. So I don't know if you're familiar with the song or not. So the
I am
line.
familiar.
So I ran. So I ran. I jumped out the back window. But a daddy, he was waiting with a 2x4.
Yeah.
Was across the street and 3 doors down to the left from the house that I was brought home to when I was born. So I've always like written that story as like, that's my shit right there, man. Like, but really, Sacramento's where I've always been from, because I was 5-6 months old when we moved here and haven't left since.
Yeah.
So
Go
Kings.
No. Yeah, 100%. I mean, me being, I'm from Kentucky. I mean, I've lived here almost my whole life. I mean, I'm 24 now, and I moved to Georgia. My parents, or my dad specifically, he had a job opportunity as a carpenter in Georgia for about probably 4 or 5 years as a kid, and I think it wasn't until like 7 years old. Unfortunately, my dad ended up getting hurt on the job. He lifted I think it was 40-pound tile, and he lifted with his back and pulled his back out. And so he had a huge, settlement deal and all this kind of stuff with his company and everything. And my grandparents had land in Kentucky that they, was up for sale, and it was just perfect timing. And my dad just bought it from them, and my parents moved up here, and we had, a good life for quite a while. And I've been in Kentucky ever since. So I really love the state. I definitely want to get out more in the world and experience more, because I have kind of been, for the most part, confined to Kentucky a long while, but I do, like being here. I think it is a good state. So yeah,
your accent definitely screams Kentucky, my man. I don't know if
I
anybody's
know,
ever told you that, but
I know. Yeah, I
you
get it all the
definitely
time.
got that fucking
it only comes out when like I'm really pissed or like really about it. I guess that's good for the podcast because people can see that I'm passionate. But like, it's annoying because I've not been in the country my whole life. I've been a city boy, but in a country state, and it's in the fucking air I breathe. I can't get away from it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I like the part of Sacramento that I was in for a long time. It's like literally 50% city, 50% farmland. So I was always hanging out with city kids, and then I'm with country kids, just like at bonfires and shit on the weekends. So I'm a city kid at heart, but I mean, I'm with the shits. I mean, I'm with everything. So I definitely feel you in that book.
100%. So how did how did you come to be having the background? You had some type of visions that you wanted to be some type of creator somehow in entertainment. So how did it come to be where you ended up being here today, from your background transpiring from a kid, to an adult, just kind of getting into this stuff?
I think if you look at my like life resume, I guess if we're going to be weird about how we're fucking explaining shit, because I don't have the words right now. It'll be weird. But if you look at like my life resume, I guess you could say, a lot of what I've accomplished revolves around some sort of entertainment or athletics. State champion for an esport title, state champion for tennis. I've done multiple state theater performances, like in a lead act. I've done multiple state improv shows, like in a major leading position. And then transitioning that into like doing that in college for like a year and a half. And then COVID hits. I finally, like, I'm going to be honest, that Gavin Newsom money was stupid, man. $12,000. No, like it was all tax write-off. I immediately flipped that into streaming.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, like full studio setup, like need to pretty much get my hands on everything that I want, which make an upgrade soon, hopefully. But just something to get me started and like actually like get my foot in the door. And that was the best decision I ever made, honestly, because I set myself up for where I'm at now. And I took a chance on myself, and it was investment, and it paid off. And I'm happy. And I mean, it led me to like meeting you. It led me to meeting hundreds and hundreds of amazing, beautiful people that I would have never met had I not taken a chance on myself. So life is a beautiful thing sometimes when you actually take a chance on yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, on the topic of COVID, I think that's I feel like COVID was such a it's such a game-changing thing for gamers, per se. Like it really revolutionized a lot of people's ability to be able to pursue and do things that they want, and gave a lot of people that don't get, that free time or that extra moment or whatever, and gave them actually time to focus on themselves, who they want to be, what kind of things that they want to do and pursue. So it is definitely important. I mean, for me, it was the same exact thing. I mean, when COVID hit, I was making like maybe $200 to $300 extra more than I would in my normal paychecks. But also I didn't have, the whole, nothing for gas, nothing for food or whatever. Like I was just stuck at home, just like everybody else. And so there was a, there was a company down in Louisville that had sold PCs. And so I called them up and I was like, hey, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I just want to be able to play on PC.
I just want shit.
And and so I ended up paying $800 cash straight out for it. And it had got sent to me and I'd got it. And that's how I started. And the first game that I started playing was Valorant. That was my very first keyboard and mouse game.
Nice.
And I'd been streaming just probably a couple months before that. And I'd been streaming tons of Black Ops 4. I was in my Black Ops 4 era, being the one to kind of, destroy you in lobbies, always recognize my name, post out the montages. Like, it was really cool. And I had this cheap ass camera that was USB that would connect to my PlayStation. And I would stream from there in my living room, and you could like literally see my fucking like kitchen in the background. You could see like the cats jumping around. My fiance would come back and, throw stuff away and stuff. And it was not the ideal setup at all, but, I had to start from somewhere. And so when I got my PC and I had a little bit extra money from COVID and everything, I was like, okay, this is this is something I got to get into. And that's really when I started understanding all the social media platforms, getting an idea of networking and how all of that functions, and really got me into Teams to put my clips in, to have better quality and to post that content. I mean, COVID was just a astronomical thing. I mean, for me and obviously many creators. So I think it's kind of just it's an opportunity where everybody is upset that COVID was a thing, but nobody's actually upset that COVID was a thing, you know?
I think it was a nice mental reset for a lot of people. As much as it may seem like it's crazy to say on the surface, what the fuck are you thinking about even saying that shit, Tay? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I get it, because it fucked up a routine livelihood for like a lot of people. But for some people that I know, it was a very nice mental reset to just take a step back for a couple of months, reevaluate what they're doing with their lives, and just reshape what they're doing and figure themselves out. And I think streaming was a very large access port for a lot of people, especially at the
Yeah.
start of COVID, because stuck at home, can't really go anywhere. We're on lockdown. A lot of people are like ordering the equipment online to just be able to do it from the comfort of their home while they're like, quarantining themselves. Like for me, it was 10 plus months because of the California lockdowns.
Yeah.
We had some pretty strict fucking lockdowns just over the course of the entire thing. And I didn't think it'd end up lasting that long, but I'm almost thankful that it did in a way, because it allowed me the time to put my foot in the door with what I'm doing now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hypothetically thinking back to that, if that didn't
Yeah.
happen, do you think you'd be here today even?
I think I still would have found a way eventually.
This would have
I'm a
been tougher.
go-getter. I think my motivation don't show up, but I'm a go-getter, definitely. When as far as like, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
100%.
So when I said that I was gonna try to get my foot in the door with this type of shit, I knew that I was gonna find a way into it eventually. I just didn't think it would be as sudden or abrupt, really, as it was.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's kind of just like the normal phrase that you hear everywhere is just like, life can throw anything at your way and just always be prepared. And I feel
Yep.
like, for people that had the opportunity and didn't take it, at the end of the day, like there's tons of excuses that people can make, but realistically, I mean, it is dependent on like where you were living at the time. Cause like I said, in Kentucky, it was like maybe 3 months and then we was, somewhat back on our feet. So it was different for different areas, but you still did have that window and it did open up time regardless, however you want to look at it. So
Well, it was
definitely
it was like February 21, like 2020, I think it was. February 2020. If I'm My timeline's all
you're
fucked up.
good. You're good.
2020 was just like a blur. Um, February 2020 really is like the end. Going into March was when a lot of it
Right.
started to hit for us. And then it was pretty much just radio silence until like Halloween time. And then Halloween was like the first major holiday where everybody was like, I can't fucking take it anymore.
Yeah.
I need to get out of the house or I'm going to go crazy, myself included. I'm sorry. But I I get it. Being cooped up in the house for 10 months, especially when you're somebody that is like up in the morning early, going to the gym, you have a set routine that you
Mhm.
follow. Like you're a very outdoor, active, like busy with your day type of person. It can be rough. I get it. But definitely Halloween set back a lot of California's COVID progress as far as
Yeah.
like trying to get ourselves back to healthy numbers. So we probably spent another like 9 months after that in another like decent quarantine until
Yeah.
society was able to like kind of come back to a normal state, and like employment numbers were back low. It was like it actually like felt normal for people to get a job again. Like COVID
Right.
was kind of just getting rid off as like another version of the flu, because they had vaccines and symptoms for it at that point. Or vaccines and um medicines for it. I English
You're fine.
at that point. So
Yeah. No, I mean it's interesting,
yeah.
specifically in your case, that has transpired, and I think it's, I'm more interested, obviously, because the way that your, career is up to this date, and all the wonderful things you've accomplished, and the many impacts, and not really, I mean, obviously impacts, but like kind of like what's the word? There's a better word I can use. I can't think of it, so I would say like alertness, awareness. I guess is kind of the better word. Raising awareness to a lot of situations and people and stuff that's going on. I think that, like I said, you just kind of ended up being that guy. So, COVID hit. you was doing all that. You had an opportunity. You took it, and then TayWoodz had kind of started being able to expand out. So how did TayWoodz come to be on all your platforms and the communities that you were building?
So I actually had this pair of twins that I hung out with when I was in community college, and it was funny because they didn't take a single fucking class at that community college. They just hung out there. Every single person knew them. Like, even you're talking like the 40, 50, 60-year-old students that did not attend college when they were younger or didn't have the opportunity, and they're now going back in their adult years. They're just there to take their classes and they go home. That's it. Even they knew them. So it was like, and thing is, they were gangbangers. So it was like, it wasn't my crowd, but something about like the energy that they just had with people, it was like, I need to meet them. Even if it may not have been the best idea at the time. I was like, I need to meet them. I bet they're fucking awesome people. And you know what? They ended up being pretty awesome people. I had a guy come in while I was promoting for the college's gaming club. It was right at the height of Fortnite. So I'm like trying to act like I know how to build, and I don't. I have a guy that literally would bring in a 55-inch TV every single day. I swear to God, on everything. He literally just all a 55-inch TV into the cafeteria of this community college every single day. Set it up, play everything under the sun you could think of. League of Legends, Blaze Blue Central Fiction, Guilty Gear, fucking Fortnite, Apex. They'd play like everything, dude. It was ridiculous. So I'm playing Fortnite on it, promoting for the gaming club. I have a guy come over. We play duos before he goes off to class for an hour. He ends up being friends with these twins. So I'm like, oh, the fucking, the twins everybody knows. He's like, yeah. So I'm like, you need to hook me up with these dudes so I can actually like sit down and like have a conversation with them and learn their life story. Fast forward 6 months, they're like some of my fucking closest friends ever. Like I'm hanging out with these dudes like every day. In between every single class, I'm posting up with these dudes. Like it became a force of habit. And so they started calling me Tay. And I don't know why. One day it was just like they had a habit of just giving nicknames to people. And so it was derivative of my old last name because I ended up having a legal shift.
Sure.
So they started calling me Tay, and I was like, yo, that nickname actually kind of goes hard. I like it. Like I actually like I really, really do like it. And the thing is, these motherfuckers loved weed, man. They loved that ganja. Like, we're talking bong rips in the parking lot, 7:30 in the morning before they go to their first class. These guys got a bottle of Jack. They're getting crossfaded before they go into their first class, just acting like a damn fool. Well, the homies that we hung out with that did have a class, but these two dudes would just hang out in the parking lot, wait for people.
Like, we'll see you in an hour.
Yeah, they just be like, all right, just like wait for people to get out of their class. It was always the spot because we had like, by the end of me going to community college, we had like 60, 75 people, no joke, that we were hanging out with on a daily basis, where it was like, you're out of class, West Side parking lot, we're always here. Like, it was our section of the parking lot. Everybody knew it. But these two dudes, I hang out with them for like 6 months. They love weed. So the thing is, they would always want to run to the gas station to get backwoods. And this was before the flavor ban. Fuck Gavin Newsom. But this was before the flavor ban. So Russian creams were still legal, or at least the Russian cream flavors. So they loved smoking them every single day. So they were rolling them up one day while we were rapping in the car, because I'm a rapper, and I was actually like, just had something new I was adding to my catalog, was just playing it for him in the car. And I was using an old pseudonym at the time, but one of them in the back seat, I ain't ever gonna forget this. My boy Trinae rolling up this blunt goes, TayWoodz coming at you live in this motherfucker. We're gonna have a bomb ass set for you the next hour and a half. I go, wait. Hold the fuck up. Hold. What did you just say, huh? And he's like, what part of it? I'm like, the whole thing. He's like, does the whole thing again. TayWoodz coming at you live in this motherfucker. I'm like, what'd you call me? He's like, I called you TayWoodz. I'm like, and that's like, you know that moment in your adult life where like all the stars in the universe just clicks together.
It all makes sense.
That was that moment. And I was just like, I think I just figured out my future. Like that right there. And everything, my gamer tag, my music handle, everything. I switched it to that. I've been running with it ever since. I fucking love it. Shout out my boys. They have, between the two of them, they have 4 children now, all in a well-raised, beautiful home. I still see them periodically every now and then, but all credit to them for the name, because they was definitely high as fuck one day, just spewing out random words, and it clicked together. And I know it kind of sounds basic, but like, it's the story that comes with it to me that makes it worth it.
No, I mean 100%. I mean, shout out to those guys. I mean, it would be, you know, to be able to be, you know, that friend and like, you know, who knows? I mean, they even may watch this podcast and they're like, man, like this is little old Tay. He used to be in the back of the car. Now he's on the damn internet and he just forgot all about us and he's just too famous
when my hair was all short and shit.
Oh my God, you can feel wind? That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, shout out to them. I mean, that's insane. And I think that's such an important topic that I tell, you know, everybody, because there's a lot of people that have a name with no story. And it's like, it's really not a big deal. Like at the end of the day, like who really cares? But I mean, like, you know, to me, let's say like, you know, you may like I guess a good topic is Bams. Bams is an amazing creator. I mean, he just hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I was
just going to say earlier, shout out to him for the 1 million, man.
100%, yeah. But like, you know, so that's what I'm saying. Like people that end up, you know, starting from nowhere, busting their ass to finally get where they want to be. And it's like, you know, to think about you have no background and like no story, like I just feel like that would kind of stink a little bit, you know, like, and so I think it's very important that, you know, however you develop your name, that you get in such a genuine way where it means a lot more when you made it. Because then when you see yourself as feeds, you don't just see it as like, oh, like that's not my government name. Like you can't get excited just because people don't know your actual name. You should be able to be excited because
you have to treat it as an alter ego.
Yeah, and that's your brand. You know,
that's what I tell people all the time. It's like, I know that sounds like fucking deep, like you're trying to be like a comic book superhero or some shit, but it's really not. Like you just have like not necessarily a persona, but an obligation to make sure that the content that you're providing is 100% up to the quality that you can make it the best. You know, like however that is, like in your definition. But damn it, if you're not trying to improve and be a better creator day by day, then what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I mean, I fully agree. And I think that all of that's really sick stuff. So again, shout out to them. Amazing people.
Shout out my guys, man. All love.
People just don't know the kind of change that they make in the world until they realize it. So it's really cool. And like I said, it's what this podcast is all about, just being able to remember those times. And
absolutely,
there's a lot of people that get burnt out and lose motivation. So that's kind of the topic that I did actually want to transpire. It's usually what I asked everybody after, you know, now that we're for the most part out of your past, getting ready to be back to where you currently are. I mean, was there ever any times you got burnt out? I mean, doing your TayAlerts, was there ever a time where you was like, I'm not feeling it, I don't have content? Like, did that ever happen to you, or how did you handle it?
I think I was having so much IRL burnout from other shit that was going on around my streaming career that I was able to use it as an escape mechanism from everything that was going on. I could just be like, pump more energy into it, the more bullshit that goes on around me, because it just started to exponentially just stack upon itself, you know, month by month, like starting like the end of last year, where it was like, okay, like I can just keep giving attention to this, keep giving attention to music, keep doing what I'm doing, like, and everything's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think that's really good, and I'm glad that you've been able to keep that, you know, authenticity of yourself too. So for creators, you know, because everybody gets burnt out all the time. Everybody's like, oh, like not doing well with the viewers. I can't think of new ideas. You know, I don't really know how to edit. You know, like what is your advice? That and clearly you've helped a lot of people too. You've helped a lot of people be able to break that ground, and that's how you've even built some of your relationships. I mean, I think me and you have even had a quick talk, you know, here and there about better ideas or a better way to kind of improve yourself. So what is your advice for creators that either is getting burnt out or don't have that somebody to turn to help them figure it out?
Just remember that nobody can be you but you, like I was saying earlier. You know, a lot of why you're doing this in the first place is because you're wanting to put yourself on a public platform and show the world what it is that you love about living this life. You know, because if you don't have anything else to show. And if you have something non-authentic to show, and you're presenting like almost like a false version of yourself, then I've never been able to understand any sort of reasoning as to like why anybody would want to be in this industry in the first place besides the money. But even at that, like, derivative of that passion, you have to even want to be in this space in the first place, because it is a lengthy and hardworking process to get to the place where some of these people are at now. They did not build Rome overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was laid almost brick by brick, essentially. Right. And that's what I guess that's what I would remind people to do, is just lay a brick every day. Not even build the whole house. Lay one damn brick. Come back tomorrow, put down another brick. Brick.
Yeah.
Brick.
No, I mean that's 100%. That's a good way to look at it.
You go like 30 days, you got a wall. And then you got a wall. And you add up all the walls, you get a house. Whoop-de-whoop. Tay high ass analogy. Bingo, you guys understand? Awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean it's sick. I mean, even like a little montage of like where you started the day ago and 30 days later, like you'll like there's a content idea right there for you.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, even there you go. We just came up with that on the fly.
Yeah. So before we get into, you know, where we currently are and what Tay has in store for the future, I want to talk about one specific thing that I did want to bring up on the podcast. We've talked about your TayAlerts and how me and you kind of got to know each other. Many conversations we've had, you know, off camera, obviously. I think one of the biggest moments as a friend to you that I started to realize, like, okay, like this is somebody that I want in my fucking corner, was whenever that bullshit tournament happened and you like snapped on that one dude because he was fucking the whole community. Like I got my shit DDoSed. Everybody else did. The tournament was just, it was not a good day. And I'm not trying to bring up past drama. I'm just saying like what was going on in your head to be able to be like, somebody's got to be that fucking guy and put him in his place. Because when that happened, instantly I was like, I'm never going to unfollow this man, and I'm always going to make sure I know what's going on in his life. Because if there's anything going on in my life, I would much rather have him fighting for me than against me.
So I was actually on a day trip with some friends. And you know what some of my homies say, content never sleeps. I mean, I get messages for TayAlerts at 2:00 in the morning sometimes, and I'll go and bust out a video in an hour before I go and pass out. I've done it before, some of them. I think there was an Apex TayAlert, if I'm not mistaken. Literally I got the info about it at 2:30 in the morning, had it recorded and edited by 4, had work at 9. Like,
crazy.
Content never sleeps. But that tournament happened. I was on a day trip with some friends, and my messages were literally blowing up. And it was to the extent, I think, not to expose, I think you might have even messaged me at one point.
I did, because that was honestly, and I know you want to talk more, but I just want to insert, you know, why I did, because that was the first time I've ever had a breaking point in my life. Because like when my shit got doxed, I was like, this is real. Like this isn't just gaming anymore. Like this is too far.
It was legit. It wasn't just Hoff trolling people. You know, it was like legit, because the dude did kind of look like Hoff. Let's be real. But no, I mean, it wasn't Hoff trolling people. Like it was like an actual serious fucking concern. We had 50 different content creators that had addresses and credit card information leaked to the public. So it's like, that's a big fucking no-no by anybody that actually has their head on correctly. So once my messages started coming up with, you know, that, it was, okay, we got to see what's going on here. And I remember I went into the chat and was like, okay, what's happening? And the mentions just from the ads were going crazy at that point. So I was like, okay, maybe I can kind of pull some leverage here. Not that I should even have to be in the situation, but if this is how I need to get more information or wiggle myself into the situation somehow, I'm going to figure out how to do it. So one of the mods was familiar with the video series. So I started messaging him, and I'm like, you need to get me into that voice call somehow so I can just fucking speak for the people, I guess. And he goes, big fan of the series, let me get you in there. Literally, I like texted me back immediately. So I was like,
oh, what a friend.
That's love right there, for real. Just because at that point, it was so many of, it wasn't even for the video, it was so many of my personal friends
100%
had like literally their home addresses leaked, their credit card
I mean,
information leaked.
I know that we kind of make fun of him a little bit, but realistically, like even some of your close friends, like you do have to realize that enough is enough. So it's kind of
well, at that point, it's to an extent justified when you're going to dish it back because of the severity of what's going on, is what I've always said. You can't expect people to not be like, oh yeah, that guy sucks, that situation was fucking shitty, or like actually make fun of him in the situation when it was as severe as it was, because you're asking for that to happen when you do something like that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's rough. At that point, it wasn't even that I was going to make a video out of it. It was that these are my personal friends, and the way that I am IRL, I'm like the pit bull of my friend group. So like, you fucking piss me off, or like you piss off somebody that like is in my fucking circle. Nah, you gotta, like, we're going to war, and then like we're not fucking settling that until you throw the white flag, not me. Like that's how I've always been at heart.
Yeah.
So soon as that happened, I was like, you need to throw me in there and I'm just going to fucking go crazy. And so the second he jumped me in there, I'm like 50 different fucking people, home addresses available on copy paste to just go into somebody's notepad and be saved on their computer forever because you decided to just post it on the internet for everybody to see. Honestly, what the fuck were you thinking? And the chat was probably like 400 people deep at this point. So there's just no evading it, dude. If you're going to do something that warrants that type of reaction, I'm going to throw myself in the middle every single time, especially if it involves people that are in my corner that have done right by me, that have gotten me to the point in my life of where I'm at right now, that have checked in on me on my bad days, have been there for me when I've been down and shit like that. Like, I ride for my own. That's my thing. And a lot of people, you included, by the way. I mean, I want to make sure that you're not left out in that.
Oh, of course.
A lot of people that day that got fucked with were like, this is my fucking family right here.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up? Like,
yeah, no, 100%.
Like,
no, I fully agree, and I think that's insane. And I think that
Yeah.
it's cool because at the end of the day, I feel like that is such a genuine time because after it all happens, I mean, you're getting all these DMs, including me, saying thank you and all this kind of stuff, and you're not looking at it as like, oh, like more content, here we go. Like you're looking at it as like, you guys have done so much for me, so it's the least that I can do, and I don't even really care about a thank you. I'm just glad that you got justice. I think that's just
no, of
so
course,
important,
dude. That was fucked, dude, completely. I mean, that guy hasn't done a piece of content since that tournament. I think, like, I would say at that point it was a successful removal, and I will only say that somebody is a successful removal from the community when you are posing a safety threat to somebody's ability to be able to do content safely from the freedom of their own home, whether that's doxing, threats, like you showing up at their home, doxing information, stuff like that, so that definitely fell in that umbrella where it's like, yeah, this dude's got to go. We can't see another piece of content out of homie ever again. So I'm glad we reached a resolution. Sorry, English again now for the fourth time, where people felt happy with what happened and felt secure with, okay, my information isn't going to get leaked to a bunch of fucking people.
100%.
My credit card isn't going to get tapped into. Tournament was entertaining. I guess the drama kind of spilled over and made for some entertaining, funny moments. All ends well. Like,
yeah, definitely.
So.
But yeah, I think it's just really important because I think the important thing is not the severity of the situation or the fact that it even happened, but I think it's just more about the outcome. It's more about the way that people handle it and the ones that stand up. And obviously, like even all the ones like like you're the one that handled it, but if it wouldn't have been for your community and for all of your friends, who knows what would have happened? I mean, maybe somebody would have stepped up, but would have they handled it as professional and as authoritative, as you do? I mean, you just don't know. Everything's unguaranteed.
The grateful opportunity to be able to learn and experience and grow alongside dozens, if not hundreds, of content creators that have definitely put on, more worn shoes and more road miles than I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been able to kind of like follow in their footsteps in a way and just kind of just, bounce ideas off of them, co-stream with them, just have those back and forth conversations about what's working, what's not working, how we can improve our craft, how we can finally reach that state of comfortability in our work that, that's what's getting us up out of bed in the morning, is just being satisfied with what we're doing.
Definitely. No, 100%. And I think it's kind of cool because, it's sad about the whole situation, but it does kind of give you more light and more motivation to know that, anything can happen. And even hypothetically, like let's say like at that point in time, you was burned out for whatever reason. If you was, and you may have not even been there. And, you could say that about anything, obviously. But at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen when you wake up, and you never know what's going to happen when another day follows. So the last thing that I want to talk about before we talk about anything you have upcoming is the other announcement that you made. You have a event that you're podcasting that's coming up here in about a week or so. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, clearly you're excited.
Dude, shout out to Alistair, the fucking goat, man. We had a very, very fun time commentating Pride's tournament. That was
that was a
Pride.
great
I had a slight shout out. I'm Slight on all platforms, who co-hosted the fucking pools with me and just hung out and kind of provided a little bit of color commentary while I was giving the play-by-play. And shout out to Pride for even offering me the opportunity to co-host and commentate that tournament with them, because that was an opportunity I'm never going to forget, even if it didn't reach the positive outcome that we were looking for.
100%.
With that being said, another TO or host that I've noticed since my time that I've entered the community that I've always like had a lot of respect for in the way that they handle their tournaments and the way that they conduct their content was Alistair. And I really liked the way that he handled his tournaments. And so when he reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, I got something in the books. I just know that whatever it is, I want you to be a part of it." I knew that it was like schedule clear, like whatever I got going on that day, we got to move it. Like whatever we got to do to make it happen, we're going to make it happen, because I gotta give him his roses, man. That he's an absolutely amazing content creator. He's an amazing friend. He's an amazing person. And the fact that he even set aside an opportunity for me to be able to commentate and co-host the tournament with him is, wildly, outrageously beyond my wild, I'm repeating myself.
No, you're good.
My wildest
I get you.
expectations. Yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
it's like it's gonna be 4v4, 4v4 hardpoint, I believe. I should have the poster right here somewhere. Let me just go ahead and pull that up real quick so I'm not giving the wrong information. Sorry. Yeah, it's gonna be a 4v4 hardpoint tournament on MW3 Jam, which is it's a server that he actually promotes and helps run, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I'm a poser. I entered the COD community, but I'm not a COD player. I played very sparingly, like on the older titles, like in high school and shit, like at parties and shit. Like I had friends that were good in the sense, like they would play online and like the ranked accounts, like when it became a thing, like when we were in high school and shit. But it never was my first choice of game. But I guess we have Mr. fucking Lack Loffman to blame for that. Hoffy, NorCal Hoffy, who
Poor guy.
My best friend in life, who is the one that introduced me to this community. I wouldn't even be here right now if it weren't for him. I know that he's probably gonna vehemently deny it when he fucking hears it and say, no, that's all him. That's all the work that he's done. I can already hear him now.
It's you. Listen.
I owe it to him. I owe it to him, because I would not be in this space right now if it were not for him introducing me to like all these fucking amazing, beautiful people, man. And I only started playing COD because of him introducing me to all these people.
No, that's it.
Self-admittedly, the first COD I ever bought was Cold War.
Oh,
I was really late to the fucking game. Really late.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with it.
No desire to play it until Cold War was out for a couple of years. I came into the community, I met people, and I was like, I just want to meet creators. I want to get my foot in the door. I want to make some amazing relationships. I want to have lifelong lasting memories. I want to meet people that I'm going to remember decades and decades from now. And how else to do that than play the games that they're playing? So that's why I bought Cold War. That's why I fucking slaved away at it for as many hours as I did, trying to learn the guns, learn how to snipe, learn all the terminology, just learned that because I'm passionate about the people in my life, and that includes the community around me. Not the community that I have for myself now, but this community that, I network with on social media, the creators around me, the people I collaborate with, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And shout out to them. Shout out to Hoffy. I mean, it's amazing what lifelong friends
love
will be
you,
able to do
loser.
for you. What's that movie from the picture that you always show? What's that movie?
Polar Express.
Yeah.
The annoying kid on the train in the
You did
Polar
you did
Express.
amazing in that movie.
Absolute
Great
doppelganger,
Great
dude.
job. But yeah, that's a topic where you was talking about, you didn't really ever get the chance to become a player. I don't know if you had seen my tweet that I'd actually posted yesterday, but I'm actually going to get into codcasting as well. There's a Challengers event possibly tomorrow, but sometime this week that I'm actually going to get into codcasting. And I had an opportunity when MW2 had first dropped, but I was so wrapped in the sniping community. I was like, I know that if I can just get a solid team, I know that I can practice and get my snipes up, I can win these tournaments. And unfortunately, almost every tournament I was always able to hold my own, but it was just unfortunate that we just never got the win. And I tell everybody this, I don't regret it at all. I loved being able to be a comp sniper, play in all these community events, even the one that we was just talking about where all that stuff went down. I mean, it was amazing to be able to play in these events, and I don't regret it. But if I had an opportunity to redo it and do the codcasting side, I would like to see how it would turn out. But regardless, and that's kind of another thing about this podcast. It does kind of build my resume for that, because codcasting, I guess, as far as gaming and stuff, aside from being able to be a full-time creator, I would say codcasting is probably the next place that I'd want to go, because, I have ADHD as it is, so I'm always fast. I'm always adjusting to situations, and that's kind of how I made this podcast, just to be able to understand things and, view them, like I said, differently, how I feel like other people do. So yeah, I fully understand, and I'm excited for the opportunity for myself. But obviously, with you, when you had that one with Pride and his tournament, I know, the turnout and all that stuff, but you did fucking phenomenal. You were amazing, giving wonderful play-by-plays. I mean, you had an amazing community behind you. You had so many people reach out to you after it was done, and every time that there would be like some type of controversy about it, or somebody would tweet, it'd be like, yeah, but like Tay did great. It's just like everybody would forget about it.
I actually saw a thread where somebody was talking about like the actual tournament outcome, like separate from my involvement, was just like, as far as which I guess TLDR for the podcast listeners that aren't aware of the context, hackers pretty much ruined the end of the bracket, so the tournament was a DNF. So it started getting tweeted about like crazy, and one of the threads, there was like a whole chain of replies. Like, I don't remember who it was, but somebody in the replies was like, yeah, the ending absolutely sucked, but Tay fucking carried that tournament or some shit. I don't remember how it got worded, but I was like,
he's just reading that, and you're like, well, it doesn't even matter now. I made my mark.
Would you believe me if I told you that was my very first Call of Duty tournament?
I definitely wouldn't, obviously. I mean, you did phenomenal. You did great.
Completely blind.
100%. Like, I just think, I guess the best
hour. Sorry about that.
You're good. You're good. I was just saying, I guess the best way that I could reference it is I think it's just it's a gift that you've always had, and you just didn't have the opportunity. Yeah, it's kind of, to an extent, I'm not trying to like, take off your success and stuff. I kind of feel the same way. I feel like, I can be a podcaster, but being able to see that out of you, I mean, like I said, it was absolutely amazing. And I think I don't want to really highlight so much on the fact that you did a great job. I want to highlight the fact that I don't think you know that you did such a great job. And I think after seeing all of the love and support that you got, I think that's the more thing that I want to remember is, I know that you feel like you did okay, but the community recognizes how amazing of a creator and a caster you were. And I think that's important for you to remember, that the community's behind you.
I think that's what I walked away happy about, mainly, was seeing the replies after and seeing the social media messages after and saying, hey, the tournament may not have been what you guys were looking for, but you were a highlight of that tournament, getting to see the commentary, getting to actually like, make it an immersive experience. So thank you for that. Like replies like that, that's why I do what I do. That's a big reason why I'm passionate about what I do, is the love that I get back from the love that I give to the people that allow me to do what I do. And commentary is definitely included in that. I have a large background with League of Legends specifically, doing commentary, and that's kind of what allows me mixed with my background in radio and
Mm-hmm.
broadcasting to like kind of discipline myself to create that immersive experience, no matter my experience with the title, no matter what title it is. I just know that I have some sort of self obligation to just, hey, you need to provide the best commentary possible. You need to have a willingness to learn. You need to be able to learn on the fly. You need to have this terminology down like within a few games. You need to know what you're talking about. And if you can't, you need to at least make it look like you know what you're talking about. And if you can't do that, why are you here in the first place? And that pep talk has never failed me.
100%.
And so I'm just, I'm always happy to step foot into new opportunities and stuff that I don't know about. But I'm happy to continue my Call of Duty resume with Alistor's tournament. So I am ever so thankful that a tournament host that is as well respected and as amazing as he is giving me the opportunity to do this with him. So shout out to him for real.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to him. Yeah. It's amazing, and I'm excited for you. I'm really invested in to see how all this trickles for you and your experiences, and even to the new COD. Clearly, it's going to bring up more opportunities. I mean, the thought of there not being any community tournaments. I mean, what kind of community are we? If we have a new COD and nobody wants to host them, so we need to make sure we have somebody keep hosting these events, because I truly think that it is, in the hint of drama and stuff, obviously it stinks, but it is the most positive when we just talk about the tournament upcoming. When the day happens, it kind of goes either way depending on who's in it and who's involved. But the amount of excitement that leads up to it is just out of this world, and it sheds a really nice and bright light on the community, because you can just see that there's creators that's happy and excited that it's coming up.
It just still blows my mind some days, like, not to be a Oiler, but like my very first tournament was with Pride. And then now on the 16th, doing one with Alistor, like that's all my experience right there. And we are talking about very well-respected, very head-on correct tournament hosts.
Yeah, I mean,
I never thought that this is a position I'd ever be in.
100%. I mean, it's just like I said, man. I was just saying, that's exactly, especially why I want to do this podcast, because I want to remind you. I don't want to sit here and ride you all day long and say how amazing you are. I want to remind you of things that I want to remind you of things that you've done, and that's what I'm looking for, is to be able to remind and reminisce and keep that motivation up to know. I'm excited that you get those opportunities. Just please make sure that you don't stop. You clearly have a gift, and you've made a huge change, and I'm just so excited for the, what changes in the future. So before we end everything off, is there anything upcoming? I mean, obviously we did talk about, what's coming up with, the whole podcasting. You have any other plans or streams or anything coming up you want to share?
So I, aside from my 4v4 hardpoint tournament on September 16th, I'm going to be releasing a tape before the end of the year, with a business partner of mine in the Sacramento area.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be the first tape that I've done that is actually going to have distribution rights through a record label.
Nice.
So I am excited to actually announce my debut project.
Wow.
Through your podcast. So
congratulations.
Exciting stuff. Thank you very much, man. Sometime before the end of the year, my boy's going off to a university that's going to require him to live on campus because of his scholarship. So we're going to lose a really good studio opportunity. It was like a really comfortable place for us to just go and record music at, and like work on music, refine music, produce music, edit music, So when he's gone, it's definitely going to change a lot of shit. And we decided that that's going to be the perfect homage to everything that we've been through as artists up to this point. And now that we have the ability and the resources to do it on our own, it's something that we're passionate about doing. So sometime before the end of the year, hopefully. But I'm all foot on the gas at this point. I've wanted to work on a full project for 3-4 years now, and I'm just excited we're finally, we're finally doing something with it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's absolutely amazing. And again, congratulations. I mean, that's a huge step. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders. That's a lot of things, not knowing how it's going to pan out, how people are going to play. And like you said, it's your debut. So I fully understand, and I'm gonna be behind you, and
I appreciate
I would say this on the podcast and off the podcast. If you ever need anything, I'm not the best musically inclined, but I'll do what I can.
I
But
appreciate you. I've
but
been in the industry like 5 years now, so it's a long time coming. Actually, when I was in college, I used to perform with a group that knew the twins. Actually, funny enough, I used to perform in a rap group. Funny, that's why I have the 7800 forever that is in my Twitter bio. I used to work with a group that was
nice.
called 7800 Records when I was in college. A majority of them, unfortunately, became victims of gun violence around 2019, start of 2020, and a lot of them passed away.
Yeah,
So that in my Twitter bio was a way to forever pay tribute to them. But
100%.
they're the ones that kind of paved the way and allowed me to start doing what I'm doing with the music. And um what was I going to say? I just completely lost my trace
You're
of
good.
thought.
You
I'm
was talking
sorry.
about how they had, unfortunately passed away, and this in your Twitter
Yeah.
bio.
I hate when your brain just like completely disconnects on you.
Yeah.
Just blue screen 404s, like when you're just complete like mid thought. Um, damn it, it's
You're
like
all good. You're all good.
2000.
Shout out to them. Shout out to
Yeah.
them. Rest in peace. It's
What was
definitely
it?
unfortunate.
Dude, fuck. There's a reason I was bringing it up. I never had released full length projects up to that point. So this had been a long time coming.
Nice.
Because this has been 5-6 years for me in the industry now, and I never released a full length project because tie-ups with old record labels that I'd been working with in the past. I was off my old record label before we could even finish a full project. The one I was with, like 2021 to right around the middle of 2022. I was having a lot of issues with them, and we never came to fruition on a full project with them. Now that we have the means to produce it and distribute it ourselves and go through like a third-party distribution company instead of being tied up on a record label contract is a big deal for us. So I'm excited that I'm finally at the point in my musical career where this is going to happen and I can take a lifelong bucket list item and check it off.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'm super fucking excited for you. And shout out to them. Like I said, I mean, I think the more important thing about that is the fact that when that all comes to fruition and you're able to do it, that they're looking down on you and being able to watch that and experience it with you.
100%, man.
So yeah, so I appreciate all your stories and everything. Thank you so much for your time to end off here. Is there anything else that you want to say before we end here?
Appreciate you having me on the podcast again. A tremendous fucking honor. You and me have been friends for a long time, so this was a no-brainer once you asked me to do it. Just super fucking humbled and honored to even have this opportunity to come on. So thank you, Feeds, and thank you to everybody that's even watching this right now and hearing the stories and taking them to heart and hearing what I have to say and sitting here and vibing with us. All the peace, love, and positivity in the world to you guys. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay beautiful. If you don't mind following me on all my platforms, twitter.com/TayWoodz, kick.com/TayWoodz, twitch.tv/Tay_Woods. All of that is going to be with a Z on the end of it, as you're going to see right here.
Right down there.
Twitch is the only thing that's got the funky ass underscore, but everything else, .com/TayWoodz. You guys know where to find me. We're always looking for more people in my ever-growing community. I always love having more people around, and it would mean a lot to see your beautiful faces pop up every now and then. Feeds, I love you, brother. Thank you again for having me.
Of course, man. I love you too, man. I'm so thrilled and ecstatic to have you on. There's a lot more that I could say and stuff, but you pretty much said it all. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna end off on that. Links in the bio. Go check him out. Please, such a genuine guy, and like I said, he is definitely one you want to have in your corner. So yeah, episode 11 of Feeds Mindset. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for checking in. Please stay tuned for more episodes. We right now are currently releasing daily until my live changes, depending. But thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great day. My name is Feeds, and I'm out, guys.
Peace.